From the studios of Foxborough Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hello and welcome to Around Foxborough, the show where we learn about the people, places, and things that make Foxborough the gem of Norfolk County. My name is Mark Rivard, and I am pleased to have as my guest today, Jessie Mermell, and she is running for the 4th Congressional District seat, which is currently held by Joe Kennedy, and she's running for that seat. Welcome, Jessie.
Thanks, Mark. Great to be here.
Yeah, be here virtually. You know, I have to ask, first of all, it must be tough to campaign during this pandemic and the lack of really getting out and seeing the public. It must be really difficult.
Listen, of all the things that are hard that people are going through right now, running for Congress is not on the list. But, yes, it is very, very strange. If you had told me that I was going to be running for the United States Congress from a couch, though we have, moved from the couch in your honor.
Thank you.
In a pair of sweatpants, I wouldn't have believed you. This is not what I had in mind when I announced, the campaign in October. But we're making it work. I never expected that I would be trying to communicate with 600,000 people in a congressional district, through this little dot on my. But that's what we're doing, and it's the right thing for public health, and that's what's most important. So we're making it work.
That's all you can do. I mean, I never thought I'd be hosting a show from my living room. Wearing shorts. Nobody can see that, but wearing shorts and flip-flops.
I won't show you my feet, but I am wearing neon socks with popsicle print all over them. Yeah. Such is life, but I've got a roof over my head and food on my plate, so nothing to complain about.
Those are the important things in life. Absolutely. So for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved in politics, and just a little bit more about your background.
Sure. So I've been working in Massachusetts politics for the past 20 years, really all of it dedicated to trying to create a fair economy and trying to create opportunity for people. And I've been drawn to that work because I grew up in a rural area in Northeast Pennsylvania that, quite frankly, left a lot to be desired in the opportunity department. It's a place where coal and dairy were once king. But as you can probably imagine, those things died a long time ago. But there was a paper plant at the end of Main Street that still kept things going. And when I was a kid, that lost a shift and lost another shift. And by the time I was in high school, was totally closed. A story that is familiar to a lot of people in the 4th Congressional District. The industries might be different, but the experience is the same. And my dad owned a small business a few blocks off of Main Street. And I'll never forget him sitting us down as a family and talking about how, with what happened in our little town, in our little county, things were going to have to be really different around our house from now on. And, that lived experience of feeling so forgotten, of not feeling like there was ever going to be any opportunity that came to my own backyard, has really fueled the career that I've had in trying to make sure that that doesn't happen for any other community or any other worker or small business owner again. And so, I was a local elected official in Brookline, focused a lot on local economic development, also on tackling climate change. I ran external affairs at Planned Parenthood, fighting to make sure that reproductive health care was included in the ACA, because we know that, for women in particular, access to opportunity is so directly tied to reproductive freedoms. I worked for Governor Patrick. I was a senior official in his administration, his communications director. Got the chance to lead his Strong Women, Strong Families initiative to make sure that women have the opportunity to succeed in any workplace they choose to participate in. And then for the past 5 years, I was the president of an organization called the Alliance for Business Leadership, the socially responsible business group for Massachusetts, and working on all of the things that we know are good for families, for workers, for the environment, but also good for business and good for the economy, like paid family and medical leave, raising the minimum wage, earned sick time, supporting our friends in organized labor, investing in transportation in communities that have been left behind. Things that, quite frankly, if we had done on a national level leading up to this crisis, we would be in a very, very different place economically than we are right now. And so, I've built that muscle here in Massachusetts over 20 years, fueled by my own personal experience. And now when I look at what we have to do in Washington, charting a path forward out of this crisis, I'm even more committed than ever to going to DC and fighting to create a fair economy for everyone in this district.
Excellent. Thank you. So let's talk about some of your real important issues that you want to tackle. I know one of them was reproductive rights and healthcare. Tell us a little bit more about your position on that.
Sure. I mean, like I said, I had the privilege of leading up external affairs at Planned Parenthood League of Massachusetts during the heart of the ACA debate, fighting to make sure that reproductive health care was included as preventive care in the ACA. And unfortunately, we're seeing two very, very serious threats to reproductive freedoms and reproductive justice in the Supreme Court right now. Just a week or so ago, the Supreme Court heard a case that could strip that contraceptive coverage that I fought so hard for, and so many other people fought so hard for 10 plus years ago during the ACA debate. But then another case, June Medical versus Russo, that the Supreme Court heard on March 1st, that could overturn Roe versus Wade. And when we think about the ways in which women are being disproportionately impacted by this crisis, and the ways in which we are going to have to chart a path forward in the weeks, months, and years ahead, the idea that at this moment, reproductive health care could be under attack in ways that we haven't seen for generations is horrifying to me. And I feel a real sense of responsibility to take the experience and the skills I've built leading in this fight here in Massachusetts and go to Washington as part of a larger conversation of how we rebuild coming out of this crisis, but to go to Washington and really lead and make the case that it is essential that people who need to access reproductive care have that right, regardless of where they live, regardless of their income level, regardless of any other factor. It's something that everyone must have access to.
Yeah, and you even have a video. Maybe we can show the video, because I love this video.
We made me a cartoon.
I said, when I first saw it, I said, you know what? I said, in this time right now, it's kind of hard to make any kind of commercials or videos with people and everything. I said, this was very, very, I love the way you guys made this video.
We did this long before anyone had ever heard the term coronavirus.
Really?
Yeah, this was from several months ago now, but it has proved to be pretty evergreen. Plus, just getting to see yourself as a cartoon is kind of cool.
I've never been a cartoon. I've always wanted to be a cartoon. So maybe next time you need somebody to model for a cartoon, I'll step in. But let's show the video so everybody else can see it.
Anti-choice politicians are trying to slam the door on reproductive health care. And just being pro-choice isn't enough to keep it open. I'm Jessie Mermell, and I know firsthand. I worked at Planned Parenthood during the fight over birth control and the Affordable Care Act, and I rallied the business community to support increased access here in Massachusetts. I've always fought tooth and nail to protect reproductive rights, and I'll do the same as your Congresswoman. That's why I have a plan to ensure abortion is accessible and affordable for everyone. Protect family planning, and stop funding lies about abortion with tax dollars. This isn't a new fight for me, and I won't let anyone slam the door on our rights.
And there you saw Jessie Mermell as a cartoon. No, very, very informative piece too. I really enjoyed it.
Thankfully, it was both adorable and substantive.
Yes, it's a good combination.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Those things
actually
exist.
Speaking of adorable, behind you, before we get into more topics, that is awesome.
Two of my youngest and clearly most talented supporters thought that the background that we've been using for a lot of these interviews and Zoom events was just too boring. It had some plants and a window and boring. So their mom did the letters and painted it. But then I don't know how closely you can see, but it's covered with taco stickers and glitter and hot dog stickers. I mean, if you haven't had your name in taco and hot dog stickers, have you really lived? I don't think so. I don't think so. So now you're our first interview with this amazing new background. So I hope it's
I am honored. I am honored. Totally honored.
Yeah,
you have your name done in taco stickers, and you have a cartoon character. You become a cartoon. I mean,
Mark, I'm not trying to make you jealous, but I mean, things are going pretty well for me.
I guess so. So now you have the floor here. What are some more issues that really, drive your campaign? Some you really want to get out?
Yeah, I'm laser-like focused on how we create an economy that is fair and just and inclusive. And I'm really trying not to use the word rebuild because it implies that we want to recreate what we've had. And we know that that economy wasn't working for so many people. And so, as much as I hate the reason that we have the opportunity to chart an economic path forward in a different way, we have it. And so, let's seize it and do it in a way that make sure that those people who have been left behind for so long see real opportunity in their future. And I'll give you one example: paid family and medical leave. I have the great honor of being on the 8-person team that the legislature here in Massachusetts asked to come together about 2 years ago to work on the issue of paid family and medical leave. It was something that was being debated in the State House, and they asked some outside folks to come together and work on it. And I sat on the same side as social justice organizations and organized labor, and on the other side of the table were some of my friends from more conservative business groups. And I truly do mean friends. We disagree on some stuff, but they're people I know and respect and can work with. But on day one of these negotiations, one of my friends from one of those more conservative groups said, what's the problem we're trying to solve for here? And Mark, I cringed because I just thought, if you don't understand why we need paid leave, if you don't understand that people are going through the natural ups and downs of life, right? The highs of starting a family and needing time off to navigate those new circumstances, or the lows of getting sick yourself, or God forbid, a loved one getting sick and you need to take time to heal or to be a caregiver. If you don't understand why people need that time, like, what are we even doing at this table? But I have to tell you, over the course of 7 months, we were able to identify areas where, much to our surprise, we already agreed, areas where we didn't agree, but we were closer together than you would have expected. And then, yes, areas where we didn't agree and we had a lot of work to do. But we built trust and we built relationships. We closed those issues where the gaps were small, and we applied that momentum to the harder issues. And we were able to reach compromise on every single challenge in front of us. And the package we presented to the legislature was adopted with very few changes, actually rolled into a larger piece of legislation, passed by both bodies, signed by the governor. It's being implemented right now. And by the time it's fully implemented later this year, will be the strongest paid family and medical leave law in the country. And that's not just compromise for compromise's sake. That's compromise that still helps us tackle inequality, that still creates nation-leading legislation, and still helps us create an economy that's more fair and just and inclusive. That's the type of experience that I want to take to Washington, and that's the type of issue that I want to focus on as we look to what we need to do in the weeks, months, and years ahead to create that economy that finally includes so many people who just haven't felt like they've had a fair shot.
Great. Yeah, paid family leave is very, very important. On my daytime job, I work for a company where we're the main corporation's located in California, and they've been doing a lot for paid family leave. So that's something that I think family leave, but that's just my opinion. So I guess the question I have, the final question I have for you is, and it's not really a question. Right now, you have the pulpit, you have the place. Tell everybody who's watching why they should vote for Jesse Mermell.
Listen, I know that very few people have been focused on electoral politics these days. There are so many more things to worry about. But when we think about how we chart a path forward coming out of this crisis, who represents this incredibly economically diverse district in Washington matters. And in a crowded field filled with talented people whom I deeply respect, I believe that I stand out as the only candidate in this field with, yes, the professional experience to lead and win on issues of creating a fair economy that I've been rolling up my sleeves and working on for decades here in Massachusetts. And I can take that muscle and lead and win on those issues in DC. But I also think it's incredibly important that I'm the only candidate in this race with the lived experience that matches the whole district. It's a district that, yes, includes Brookline and Newton and Wellesley and Dover, and places that we know have experienced great good fortune. People struggle everywhere. But it also includes so many other communities, so many other families in places like Foxborough and Taunton and Attleboro and Fall River who have had a different story over the past several decades. And it is a story that I have lived, that my community where I grew up in has lived, that my family has lived. And I think, yes, that makes me a better candidate, but 10 times more important, it's going to make me a better member of Congress. Fighting for the whole district, having empathy with the whole district is why I have a fire in my belly for these issues. It's why I launched this campaign in Fall River in October. And it's why I'm maybe not out there, but on here on this screen every day fighting this fight to make sure that we create a fair economy for everyone in this district. I hope that I can earn people's support because I've fought the fights and I've lived the experience. And I know that I can deliver for this district in Washington. And I hope to earn people's support.
Thank you very much, Jesse. And we wish you the best of luck in the primaries.
Thank you.
And thank you once again for being a guest.
It's
Really
absolutely
appreciate
my
it.
pleasure. And please stay safe and healthy out there.
You as well.
Thank you.
That was Jessie Mermell, Massachusetts 4th Congressional District. She's running for the seat. And that's another version of Around Foxborough. My name is Mark Rivard. Have a great day.